Hey Tampa, Brandon Wagner here again, part of our 20-year anniversary interviews. This is episode number 5, and this is Geanna, who runs The Bride and also Couture Weddings and Flowers.
And more.
And more.
Yes,
okay,
yes. Remember I did your wedding.
Yes, okay, so Geanna is a client of Tribeca, of course, and she actually did manage our entire wedding. And it's so funny because I know that you had said that we were relatively easy to deal with.
Oh, so much
And
easier.
I just felt I was a nightmare.
No, you weren't. You were really great. I mean, compared to what I do every single day, I feel like you guys were like the easiest clients that I've had in my career, which would be 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and you had multiple parties. So,
yeah.
I mean, you had like 1, 2, 3, and I was like, oh my gosh, are my legs gonna keep up with you guys? I mean, at the end, I put you in the Uber, and I was like, I mean, it was high energy.
Weekend.
It was a high energy, definitely.
So, I'm very glad that we were easy to deal with and everything.
Very easy.
But so, what is like when everybody thinks about a wedding planner? Okay, everything that you do, how would you encapsulate, like, describe all the elements of what you do?
Well, it's basically building a trust and relationship between you and your partner or your husband, wife, fiance, and you come in here, you hang out, we talk about like what your needs are, what you're trying to accomplish for the weekend, because generally a wedding is going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. And for you guys, you had a very large event opening up the whole weekend, which was security and alcohol and staffing and keeping everybody
lots of pipe and
drape, you know, dancers and running out of vodka, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? But no, so I mean, those little things that happen during your weekend is my job to execute and make sure that nothing, you know, you'll find out about it later. Like I told you, we ran out of vodka and we went and bought more, but you didn't know it on the night up, did you?
I think you mentioned after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, I execute and kind of keep the time for my client the whole weekend. So you don't have to worry. So you're not picking up ice. You're not picking up, you know, additional security people. You're not, I'm looking at it as a whole weekend, not just your wedding day. You know, so all these events happen and lead up to, you know, the install, the dismantle, and then also, you know, cocktailing, making sure your guests know where restrooms are, making sure that obviously groom and groom were very happy, constantly checking in with you, and you kept saying, what do I do next? What do I do next? And that's why I'm here, because I gently would say, hey, we're going to go cut the cake, or gently say, you know, it's time for speeches. So therefore, it kind of, I feel it takes the worry out of the anxiety that people will get planning a huge event, especially a 3-day event for you guys.
You know, I'm used to hosting events, like we do other things for Tribeca and such. And I know that I'm always running around. It was wonderful, the idea that I could just be with the fellow guests, you know, and just enjoy the experience. So for you, your business has really evolved a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
What are some of the services that you actually offer as part of this whole package?
Well, when I started just doing flowers. And so my background is about 90% of flowers. And I got into planning later on in life and, you know, working with celebrities. And I was in Atlanta and I was in New York and LA and all these really great places that had huge events. And when I decided to open up my business, I wanted to do more of this. I wanted to have more of that personal touch and actually interact with my clients a lot more. So I became, in my past career, a kind of a spoke. I wanted to have this moment and share these things. And I also wanted to bring a different flair to Tampa, and I also believe in pricing fairly, and I feel like that's why I've been so busy in the last, it'll be almost 3 years now, that I'm constantly have a wedding or an event, because, you know, when you say wedding, everything kind of goes up a little bit more than and you know that from throwing parties. I mean, and when we went through the process together, you know, I think I really opened your eyes up to how a wedding really is done and how much money it really takes. It's you know, it's definitely my brand and my logo and everything that I do. A wedding is for everyone. There's not a price tag, but you definitely have to work at, you know, the numbers. You definitely have to look at, you know, people you invite. Also, you know, what kind of experience do you want your guests to have all weekend? So for you, I thought it was really cool that you had a welcome party for your clients, for your employees, and then kept it more intimate for the family, for the rehearsal. And then of course the wedding, you know, we kind of scaled back on guests because, you know, the moment between, you know, the marriage and your family is really what a wedding is about, is bringing the two groups together and enjoying a wonderful meal, doing some dancing, drinking, of course.
Lots of drinking.
Lots of drinking. I finally had a drink at the end of the night. I was like, oh, my feet are killing me and I need a drink. But no, I think for me, my services, it starts from the very beginning of, you guys get engaged. We have drinks. We figure out what you want to accomplish for the weekend. And then we started party by party by party. And then basically I will kind of advise you on what's going to work, what's not going to work, how am I going to save money? Because really that's a lot of my job, is to help you, because most of us haven't been married. It's our first time. So how could we figure out, we went to go get a cake and it was $800. Well, is there any other alternatives to having a different kind of cake? So having a planner helps you kind of navigate through some of those things.
Yeah, you brought up points that never ever would have crossed my mind, most definitely.
Yeah.
So what about the idea of, let's say with the type of weddings that you do, you have had lower end weddings and also you've gone high end and everything.
Absolutely.
So what are we looking at? Like, what are the scales that you're working with, as in like how big or how small you've worked?
Well, I would say that this past year I had a client that was wonderful, and I love her, and if she sees this, I was so excited to have her as a client. She would come and, we'd talk about her wedding. I comped my service. She bought a dress for me when I first bought the bride. And I felt like, this girl worked really hard, so I wanted to do something for her. And so I helped her with her little budget that she did have, navigate through all the services that she would need. And of course, I'm very generous, and I'm sure if my accountant's watching me right now, he keeps telling me I have to raise my prices. But I do it because I love it, and I want everybody to have a wedding. I don't feel like, like an average wedding for me right now is around $4,000. I have a wedding next weekend that's about $20,000. So it runs the gamut. I also have people, I've actually done a couple of your employees' weddings, and they had $100, and I just threw some stuff together and got them married,
That's awesome.
So it's really about me forming my relationships and my brand. The most important thing is that, I'm for everybody. I don't look for a bride or a groom, they find me. And we make that bond and that connection for a year. And generally, I become friends with all of them. Like all my brides from last year are having babies. So are you getting a dog?
I have yet to. I've yet to become pregnant.
Okay, well, you can always try.
I know.
Or keep trying.
That's the fun. But it's just not working.
That's the fun part. That's the fun part.
Totally.
So
can I ask you what was the very best moment of any event that you've run? Like the highlight of your entire career?
I'm probably going to say, I can't say who it is because it was a celebrity that I did some event work for. But I heard this woman gasp for hair and say, oh my gosh, Geanna, this is amazing. And I almost get tears now when I think about it, because it was such a wonderful part of my career. Because, you start up as, a little person, scrubbing buckets, cleaning flowers, hoping you can make an arrangement. One day I'll do it, and you go to school, you get your master's, you do all these things. And then, somebody like believes in you and puts, kind of puts him under your wing, and then they take you all over and you learn from that. And I will say that, I have great mentors in my life, and I've always had really great experiences. And now, as I'm 24 years in, now I'm taking interns and showing them how to do, I have this cute little intern. She's so adorable. She's from some little town in Florida. She found me. She called every wedding planner in the book. And they all were like, it's wedding season. I can't believe you're even calling me. Like, don't call me. And was totally rude. And this little girl says, you're the last person I've called, and you're the only one that'll talk to me. And of course, I had 2 weddings that weekend. I had her come up. We had a great conversation. And I am now taking her under my wing so I can teach her, because I've been given such a beautiful gift. I have to share that with someone.
Exactly.
She doesn't have, the means to do whatever, but I'm going to take her along, and if she can handle the first wedding, because I'm giving her the biggest one I have, if she can stand up at the end of the night, then she'll be a planner.
Great.
If she doesn't, then she'll find something else that she wants to do. Yeah,
more power to you for your job. Honestly, I don't even know how you do it. Honestly, to have the stamina, the organizational skills, and also just all those little things juggling in your head for not just even preparing for the event, but the day of the event.
Yeah.
Like, what if you forget? Like, oh no, we didn't cut the cake yet.
No.
So,
and it's so funny because, and this I think is really important for brides and grooms and future clients of mine. don't get so caught up in your time frame. Enjoy the moments, enjoy those things, because I control the timeline, and I tell you when it's time to go, or I tell you, and if I see that you're enjoying, like you guys were enjoying, oh my gosh, conversation with people you hadn't seen in years, family members, and you know, we were supposed to cut the cake at 9 or 9:30, but you guys were like, you know, jamming and dancing and all of that. So for me, I knew it wasn't appropriate. So I watch the room, I cocktail your guests, and I find out when is the best time that I think you'd be ready. And then, of course, you know, I will gently grab you and say, hey, it's time. And you're like, yeah, all right, let's go. You know, so it's really about feeling your client out and knowing their needs. And that's part of my job, is that I'm the person that's going to be able to gauge that for you. Yeah. So you can just relax.
I think that one thing that was wonderful working with you is that the experience was so organic.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, when I think about, like, say, a wedding, it's the wedding at the church, processional, you know, saying your vows, you go for your photos, you go for the cocktails, you do the reception, you cut the cake, you're done. And it's just like so systematic. And of course, those are the bones in which you're working with. Right. But the one thing that I loved is that you just allowed it to flow. Yeah. And the event itself, in a way, became alive for us. You know, like, I think that you actually kind of gave it its own spirit. And I think that's really awesome, because, you know, we think of weddings as, it's the flowers, it's the cake, it's the dress, and that's it. But really, it is like
this organic sort of situation. And awesome. I will say that most people that I work with, I'll say we're just going to let it happen organically, because once you start pushing and forcing, it feels very hard and there's no flow in it. So that's why I always say, you know, I mean, I have to work with culinary, of course. If you're serving food, I can't really push that too much. If it's, you know, a plated, seated dinner, of course, we have some hard times that we have to follow. But, you know, for me, I just watch my client, because at the end of the day, it's your moments and your family, and you've spent all this time and energy, and there's so much emotion going on. If you're having this amazing moment, I'm not going to be like, okay, come on, we got to go, gotta go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, drag you away.
Yeah, and it just doesn't seem organic, and it's not, you know, you want to feel that love in the room. And if you're like constantly like this, you know, and I try to step back from where my clients are, and I'm not breathing down their throat. Like, I'm milling out in a corner watching you, but I'm not like on your feet. You know, I'm letting you have those moments and gently letting you know this is the time frame. And I think that's one of the really great things about me, is that you see me in the background, but you're not going to see me in the photo. You know, so I really am respectful, and I allow the time frame to just kind of let it be what it is. Good.
Has that ever not worked?
Yes. Tell us about that. Wow, yes. So I had 2 individuals. They were very just, you know, time frame, song. And I will tell you that they did not enjoy their wedding. They were so amped up about the time frame, they just couldn't relax. And that's what I mean by let me feel your day out. Because if you are just married to this, to this timeline, you're gonna have all this anxiety, you know? And I remember you said to me, you're like, well, how do you know when? And I'm like, I'll tell you when it's time. And you're like, cool. And you had fun, you know? So yes, I mean, there's certain clients that are very, very type A's, and they have to know, and they gotta have a watch, and they wanna make sure, you know? And with those people, you know, on the day of, once you get to your day of, all that anxiety and that craziness of a time frame goes out the window. So all that work, and you're doing this to me the whole time, Geanna, and I'm like, no, just let it happen. You know, just let it happen. So yes, I have quite a few times. The other ones are really funny, are the moms. It's
so interesting, you know, from my experience, because of course I do bridals all the time, right? The hair and the makeup and everything. And it's just so funny, you never know who's going to be the problem child in that group. And it's amazing, because sometimes it's the mom. Once I had a grandma who threw a hissy, and I was like, whoa, is this about you?
Yeah,
it's amazing. Right. So what are your experiences with like the in-laws or whatever?
Here's what I like to say about this. Because you get engaged, it's the most beautiful time in a woman or a man's life, or whoever's getting married, you know? But it doesn't give you a license to be a brat for a whole year. And it's, you know, and remember, the most important thing is you found your significant other and you are vowing to be together forever.
People
and it's
forget
about
that.
the families coming together and sharing a meal and enjoying each other. And sometimes, in most cases, 2019, people haven't even met parents yet, you know, because of, you know, how far it is in the world and how, you know, this person lives here and that person lives there. So sometimes it's the first time that you get to meet everyone's family. So don't forget, just because it's about you, it's not just all about the bride. It's about the two families coming together. And I feel like I tell all my brides this, you know, something may happen. You may not find out. I'll catch it, obviously. Like, you know, one of my brides forgot her veil in an Uber car.
Oh, no.
So here's me, you know, and I have a shop in Ybor. So I grabbed a veil, brought it to the church, and it was fine. You know, those are the little things that happen. Or, you know, you forget, you know, the rings. So you want me to drive all the way to Clearwater when the wedding is in St. Pete. Yeah. Or I tell you, don't forget the marriage license, because there is no marriage without the license. And, you know, so it's little things like that. And those are the things that I do. There's so many crazy stories.
Like I said, more power to you for it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And
yeah, you do get a rush off of it.
Oh, absolutely.
I saw
the
that.
more complicated, the more I love it.
It's so funny.
Yeah, the more intense it is, the more I like it. Because I like a challenge, and I like, you know, people's trust. You build it in the beginning, but when they see your actual like finished product, and it's just like hair, you know. I mean, like, I got 3 inches cut off by Alfonso. Love him.
Very good.
Yeah, but I had to build that trust. It took me 3 months to say, okay, you can cut my hair short.
Oh, but it's so not short.
I know, but it's so short. It was to here.
I know, it's short for you right now. But
yeah,
still,
but no, I love him.
Short.
But yeah, so that you build that trust, and over a year, and some of my clients, I have them for 2 years, you know.
God.
So if they're in medical school or buying a house or...
Interesting.
So, yeah, the brides and grooms, I promise you, they buy a house, they get a puppy, they get their master's, and then they decide they want to have a baby, all in 1 year. I'm like, enjoy being married.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the you know, sharing last names or not sharing last names or whatever it is that you all do when you get married, because I'm not married, so.
So let me ask you this, is that what would you say would be your one piece of advice for anybody, bride or groom? And what I love is that you cater to
everyone,
gay, straight, everybody, which is so awesome.
My brand is about diversity and about everybody getting a wedding. And if you don't have money to have a wedding, we'll figure it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what would you say, what's that piece of advice that you have for that either, well, let's say for the couple, what's that one piece of advice you have for the couple as they prepare to start searching for, say, a wedding planner and stuff like that?
First advice, and
Come
a lot of time, come to me first. Of course. Get your dress with me, your planning, your flowers, your everything.
And your dresses are amazing.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
I don't, you know,
well,
I wore a dress the other day,
yeah.
but just honestly, your dresses are just absolutely
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
They're
Well, we
fantastic.
really do. We thrive ourselves on like European clean, definitely timeless. You know, we're not for everybody. We have a lot of boho stuff. We have a lot of classics, but definitely different than every bridal shop in Tampa, which is really nice because I get compliments constantly like, wow, this is so beautiful. It's, you know, and part of the thing about my buying the bride is that it brings me full circle on everything that I do. So you can come here and get planning, you can get flowers, you can get a dress, you can get, you know, my advice for free. I had a bride the other day that was getting married in Denver, and she was having some issues and like, do you know anyone? I'm like, oh, of course, let me call somebody. So for me, I'm an open door. You don't have to spend money with me, but I definitely want everyone to have the experience of coming to the bride because it's so cool. You know, it's very relaxed, it's intimate. You're not, you know, there's not 20 girls here at one time. It's just the bride and her family. You know, we have champagne, we talk about her needs or their needs. So, you know, some clients will just do one service or some will do all services. So when I met you, I hadn't bought the bride yet. But since I've bought the bride, my weddings have gotten so much larger than when I first met you. Like, you were one of my first weddings. Cool. I mean, and you were definitely, so I did the girls first. They were employees of yours.
Yep, Chandra.
First wedding I did. And so I started on how I wanted it to be for everybody. And now your wedding was the last piece of the puzzle for me to be able to put, you know, Instagram and all of my things for basically for a wedding for everyone. Because, you know, there's so many different seminars now, how to do a gay wedding. Can you believe that? It's not any different than anybody else's.
Right,
so, but anyway, so that's why I really wanted it to be, you know, for everybody.
Very cool.
So
awesome.
And I encourage anyone that wants to come and try a dress on. It's for everyone. If you feel like you want to wear a dress, come and get, you know, if you want to wear a big white dress and you wear it, you know. So yeah, I just want people to be comfortable, and we all need to get to that space, especially when we're planning like the best day of our life, you know. So
very good. And I thank you so much, because you definitely made it the best day of my life. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Remember how much I cried?
Oh, you did. You were such a baby. I love it. Oh my God.
I saw
everybody
so much
was
in
crying.
my vows.
I was crying, you know, like his parents were crying.
Yeah, it was great.
It was like, and I was like, and you got that ugly cry, but I remember, this is great advice, everyone. So if you do a first look, you get that ugly cry out. So when you actually see your groom or your bride walking down the aisle, you're not like sobbing and this kind of like, you know, but it is what it is. You cried all weekend though.
I did.
You did?
I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. All right. Well, I thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
It was great.
I had
Always
so
good
much
talking to you
fun.
and everything. So,
much fun.
Please, everybody, check out Geanna Graham, and it is The Bride. It's in Ybor.
Yep.
Right on 8th Avenue.
Yeah, we're like 2 blocks. We're neighbors.
Yeah, 2 blocks away from Tribeca.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So please check her out.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Tampa. Take
See
care.
ya.